Hello everyone, welcome to the Primetime Gym. Today we're going to talk about alignment and the load in the shot motion. With me today I've got my third daughter, Kate Wagner. She played at Valders High School, three-time Defensive Player of the Year, three-time conference champion, and a team MVP her senior year. So thanks for helping us out, Kate. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the alignment and the load as part of the shot motion. We're going to talk about key elements of it, and then we're going to go through some examples of drills you can do to try to support those tactics. Here we go. So the last part of the shot motion that we talked about was the catch. And the catch is the very first step in the shooting motion. It's important to catch the ball out in front of your body. It's important to have your body in rhythm, and it's an important lead up to your load. Okay, so let's talk about the load right now. So Kate, what we want you to do is we want you to come up and we want to get your feet right on these dots. When we talked about the catch, we talked about having your feet aligned to the basket but slightly turned. So if the clock was 12 o'clock and you're straight ahead is 12 o'clock, we want your feet pointing to about 11:30. We want your knees bent, we want the ball out in front of you, and we want you aligned and ready to shoot the basketball. So that we should have already been to this point on the catch, and those are elements that we reviewed already. So let's take a look at alignment, and what we're going to do is we're just going to change angles real quick. So slide down here, and we are going to look at, when I am coaching players, I'm looking at something called the shot line. And the shot line is if you were to take a picture of this player from straight on, right? You're straight on with the player, and you cut off 50% of that player's body. You would be left with their shot line, and you want that ball right in the center of that shot line. So her shot line, to me, when I'm looking at her, is I'm looking at her feet, her right foot, her knees, her hip, her right shoulder, her right elbow, her right fingertips, her right eye, her right shoulder, and her right eye. All of that is her shot line. We want all of that to be aligned. Shooting is an aiming sport. Shooting is a sport where, or an element of basketball where if you can be a straight shooter and miss your shots long and short, you're going to be far more consistent than if you're constantly going left and right and you got multiple ways that you're missing. So a straight shot is a great shot, and the first step of that is hopefully getting to a good quality catch and then having yourself aligned. Another thing that I want to show is the hand placement on the ball. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right, so when we're looking at the ball, you want your thumb and your pinky to be as wide as possible. You want the ball on your fingertips. Your fingertips command the ball on passes, they command the ball on dribbles, and they command the ball on your shots. So you want to make sure that you've got really good finger pad control. If you don't have good finger pad control, ball handling, passing drills, speed dribbling, all that stuff will help with your finger pad control. So when we get that ball in our loaded position, we want to have our thumb and our pinky as wide as possible, and we want to have our index finger and our middle finger splitting the center of the ball. So if we look at any basketball, it's going to have an air hole. You want your index finger and your middle finger splitting that center of the basketball. Because when you go up and you go into your follow-through and it's time to go up, you're going to put the majority of the energy into that ball is going to go via your middle finger and your index finger, because those are your two strongest fingers putting energy into the ball. So you want to have those nice and aligned right with the center of the ball. If you put your hand too far over to the side, you're going to have a tendency to flick that offhand thumb, and that's not a good option. So you want to start by having that hand right in the center of the ball. So another thing to look at here is the flexation of the wrist. We do not want to have your wrist be straight, and we don't want it uncomfortably back. We want that to be nice and comfortable, gently flexed back and ready so that when it's time to go up, you can flick that ball out of your shot pocket. The other element I'm looking at here is I'm looking at this angle right here on her elbow. If that angle is too far forward, when they shoot, she's probably going to come back and then push out. And if it's too cranked, it's less than 90 degrees, then usually that shooting shoulder dips and they have a twisting motion to their shoulders when they're trying to shoot the ball. So we're looking to see about a 90-degree angle right here, and then when it's time to shoot, and we'll get into that in the shot video, you're going to swing your arms and the ball up, and then go ahead and shoot the ball and follow through. So basically those are our elements here. The last thing that I'll talk about is weight distribution on the load. If you get into the loaded position and you close your eyes and you just think, where is the weight on my feet? Am I tipped forward and slightly unbalanced forward and there's too much weight on my toes? Am I leaning back almost to the point where I've got to skip my step backwards? You want to be neutral and comfortable. You want your knees bent. You want that 90-degree angle. You want gentle flexation there, hand on the ball, right? And then your offhand, let's take a look at the offhand real quick. So with the offhand, what we're just looking at here is just a gentle, comfortable rest of the offhand and the offhand fingertips over on the left side of the ball. And when you catch the ball, you really want to emphasize catching that ball with your right hand and the 5 fingertips on your right hand. And then you just bring that offhand over to the left. And that really, you don't want to have this thumb too wide, because then when you go up, you're going to want to flick that offhand thumb. And that's going to be difficult to keep your shot straight if you're doing that. And then just comfortable. So knees bent, balls in your shot line, and your eyes are up on the rim. I usually say ball, rim, ball. So take a look and stare at the ball as it's coming into your hand. As soon as it touches your hand and you're in your loaded position, your eyes need to be up on the rim. And then as you're going through and the ball comes out of your hand and exits your hand, then your eyes follow the flight of the ball. So ball, rim, ball. So at this point, you should be ready to get your eyes up on the rim, stare at the front of the rim, and ready to get into your shot motion. So the very first drill that I would suggest for you for getting into practicing the load and the alignment is to go right and directly in front of the rim and set up some kind of reference point on the ground, whether it's a piece of tape, whether it's a sticker, whether it's chalk if you're out on the concrete, but get yourself some kind of frame of reference on the ground. So what I've got here is just some black circular stickers, and I've got them set up where they're about hip width apart, and the left one is just a little bit behind the right one. Now, if you're a left-handed player, obviously that's going to be reversed, where the left one's going to be a little bit ahead, but we're talking like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch as far as the difference. So I know sometimes the turn is something that's misunderstood. Yes, you do want to be turned, but the idea that you're going to shoot a jump shot turn this much is, I just don't see the best shooters in the world doing that. So basically what we can do here is we can back up, and without the ball, we can head toward an imaginary pass and focus on getting those feet down and getting that ball out in front of you. So just come back, left, right, get that ball out in front of you, and then just back it off. Okay, and go ahead, keep going, Kate. Yep, and what you really want to emphasize here is just practicing getting those feet in the correct position. If that left foot is too far back or too far out, you're going to have other side effects within the shot. You can keep going, just practice it. And you can practice the hop now. So get up into it with a hop. Yep. And if you've got the ball too close to your stomach, your elbow's going to pop out. So just really kind of emphasize getting yourself into that loaded position. Hit those dots every single time. Okay, get that thumb and that pinky as wide as possible. Have that offhand karate chopped right here, nice and straight. And get your eyes up on that rim. Every time, get that eyes up on that rim. Okay, now let's add a basketball. So we'll throw you the basketball, you can get to your loaded position, and then just pass it right back to me. Good, keep those feet nice and narrow. Right on those lines. Keep the ball out in front of you. Keep it on your right side. Eyes up on the rim. Okay, good. All right, now let's take a look at what it would look like to go off of the dribble. So what we can do is we can catch here, and then I want you to do an open step. So right-handed player, you're gonna keep your left foot down, open step, one dribble, left, right, and then just throw it right back to me. So catch the ball, catch it to a hop, and then sweep, open step, 1, 2, and right back to me. Yep. Good, there's a hop, good. Good. Now let's get a hop again. Good. All right, so now we're doing cross step. So right now what Kate's trying to do is keep her left foot on the floor, cross her right foot past her left. That's why we're calling it a cross step. And she's gonna get over to a hop. And keep those feet a little more narrow so they're right underneath you. Good. And let's do a step back now. Okay, with a step back, we're just going to, basically it's a 1, 2, but her right foot's going to push her back. Okay? Now, what's important here is if you get your feet where they're too wide or they're too narrow, you're going to have a problem being athletic when you jump up to shoot the ball. So if you're going to do a high jump and you're going to try to jump as high as you can, you're not going to put your feet like this. You're not going to put your feet like this. You're going to put your feet directly underneath your body. And that's what's going to help you jump up the best. So if you're trying to shoot a jump shot, it makes sense to have your feet underneath your body, right? You don't want them too wide. You don't want them too staggered. You want to have those feet pretty much right underneath your hips. Okay, so that was a real good job showing open step, cross step, and practicing that. You can also do things like catch the ball and have the player go down to the block and come back out, pass it to the person, and have them practice jumping into the catch and getting into the load without shooting it, so that you're emphasizing the process and not the make or the miss. Hope you enjoyed our process breakdown here of the load and the alignment. Appreciate you helping me out here, Kate. Nice to see you again, home from college. And we'll see you on the next breakdown here for basketball shot mechanics at Primetime Players Basketball Court.